the people are crazier, like in a good way though. And I see what people mean now when they say when you go outside the country, people appreciate that more.
Thank you guys for joining us on the Elation podcast today, where we enjoy exhilarating euphoria through creation and collaboration. We are here with Nell Simmons. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, it's
always,
been a minute.
For sure. I know.
Yeah,
For
I know.
sure.
I know. I'm glad you've been here before, and we can talk a little bit about some of your experiences here. But let's start with your origin story. So, where are you from? Where you went to school? Let's talk a little bit about that.
So I'm from New Orleans, born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
I went to, well, it doesn't exist anymore, but it's Ellie High School.
Okay.
And then I went on to Southern University at New Orleans, what they call SUNO. And then I went on to Delgado as well to get another, to finish off over there. So, yeah, I kind of move around a little bit.
Yep. Well, being born and raised in New Orleans, is there a part of New Orleans you feel like you rep more than anywhere else? Because we always kind of click together.
Yeah, you're right. That would be Gentilly for me.
Gentilly? Yeah, okay, all right.
That would be Gentilly. Like, I'm like, yeah, Gentilly. That's it.
All right, well, great. Well, what did your college, explain your degrees and things that you went for?
So I actually minored in music. I didn't really major in music. I wasn't like the kind of person that was like, okay, I'm going to study music and just, that's it. I kind of felt like I have a great knowledge of music, the voice and all those things that involve me. So I wanted to study something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had an interest. I love small animals. I always said, if music is not my thing, it would be veterinary medicine because always just kind of just love small animals. So to kind of have my
Only
own...
small animals.
When I say small animals, I mean like dogs, cats, certain kind of, maybe rabbits or something.
Yeah.
I'm not big on
horses.
The farm animals.
Okay, all right. No horses or cows.
They're cute out, but I'm not trying to...
You don't want to work on them.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's kind of... So I studied biology.
Okay. Well, it was funny, a little small part about me. I actually wanted to be a marine biologist growing up.
Really?
Yeah, and then a vet was probably on the list as well on that moment. But then I realized I wasn't good at school, so I just moved on. But anyway, I digress. Back about you.
That's so funny. Well, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I just really had this extreme passion for music and my voice. Using my voice, this is my instrument. It just felt so right. It felt like a strong marriage, And when I used my gift, people would I just loved the feeling that I would give myself and others. People would really, it would move them. So I just gravitated to writing music and recording music and performing music. And yeah, that's just been my...
And it moved into a career, huh?
It has.
Yeah. What was that moment? What was that I'm no longer, this is no longer a hobby and no longer something that I passion. This is something that, you know what, I'm going to make money in it.
Right. I started really young, like working with some other artists that were older than I was, and kind of like showed me the ropes a little bit, probably 18, 19, singing background for Erica Falls, working with her, then went on to do the quarter with her. We actually performed together in the quarter. Like, I was out there with her. So it was a long time ago before, like, this, right now where it's like, okay, there's a lot of artists out there now. But at that time, you had people like that who really were grooming you to, perform and have this, work ethic, work ethic, and just this etiquette on stage. So, kind of worked with her for a couple years. But I always say, the quarter was just something to kind of teach you performing and singing live, in my opinion, here in New Orleans. But it wasn't something that I wanted to do for a long time. I felt like, your voice needs to be used in other platforms, not just, on bourbon. People come out there, they get drunk, and it's just like, that's it. So for me, it was like, hey, I also had a cousin that produces music, and I would fly in and out of New York where he lives and kind of record with him. So I was really young, kind of starting out with people in the industry and people that performed, in bands and things like that. So it became a career pretty early.
Well, okay. So let me ask you that question, because one thing that I born and raised here, so
Mhm.
I love New Orleans. It's part of me,
Yeah.
you know. But I also feel like we don't necessarily give the business to the musicians and the artists that needs to drive an actual career. So having a
Right.
cousin in New York
Mhm.
probably progressed your career faster
I agree.
than just working down here.
Exactly. It did, and it really made me look at my city differently
Right.
early. I mean, I was early on. I was like, this is not it. There's no business mind, business, concept. There's no one here to kind of
It's
push
so
that.
random.
It is very random, and it's like I can't. So I traveled a lot to New York and really spent time there. I was really in love with their spaces, their venues, the performances, the artists that took their art seriously because they're in a city where the labels are, and they felt the
Right.
need to
Yep.
really take it to the next
It's the
level.
number one thing that is wrong with New Orleans in music is there's no label buildings. There's no
No.
A&Rs. There's no label building.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for an artist to walk in and find information.
Exactly.
And it sucks because we had two of the biggest labels ever
Yeah.
to come out of New
Out of New
Orleans,
Orleans. Yep.
and and
It's
and
crazy.
and yet we have no label building.
Yep.
You
It's
know, and
crazy.
no limits in Calabasas, and what Cash Money's in Miami,
Exactly.
and
They ain't out here.
they out, and I feel like we've been forgotten about since Katrina.
I agree. Katrina was crazy. Yeah, it's over. It was over. And I was like, I'm done with it. I really had a negative
You were obviously doing music before Katrina, right?
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But after, yeah, it was definitely worse. It wasn't giving anymore.
You needed to really dive into the creative heart, because
Yes.
otherwise you would have just given it up.
And I kind of sort of did. I
Right.
felt like, okay, this is not worth it. It's too many highs and lows and mountains and valleys. And it was exhausting because I came back here. My first, I thought, mistake at one time was coming back to New Orleans
Okay.
because I felt like, okay, I need to be somewhere in Atlanta, somewhere in New York, somewhere maybe in LA, where these things are taken more seriously. And at that time, before Katrina, I worked with an artist that came out of New Orleans, Dawn Richard. And actually, we actually sang together sometimes, a couple of times on a couple of her shows. But she kind of, left and kind of did her thing. And you kind of saw that with certain artists that left. They kind of had some movement that was not quite like being here. And so I felt like I
Well,
was kind of being slowed down a little bit.
so I have a similar story in the sense of so my born and raised here, but my mother moved to Palm Beach when I was 16,
Hmm.
and after divorce. So my mother, my sister, and I all moved to Palm Beach, and I moved back here in my mid 20s to try to do music and do things and get involved in things. I was here maybe 6 months,
Wow.
and I realized I have to go somewhere else. And I had been dipping my toe in LA at the time,
Yeah. Uh huh.
and I started sleeping on some couches out there and doing some things that like made me feel like I was actually progressing in a
Hmm.
career. And at some point, I said, like very quickly, I said, I can't stay here if I want to build a career. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
move.
Right.
And it's because there were no label buildings, and it was because there were no support for the actual culture of business down here for music.
Yeah, for sure.
So hopefully, part of me moving home
Hmm.
and building this build facility is helping, or is going to help artists to
Yeah, I think it is.
get a little bit of realization of how fast they have to move, as well as fitting in the budget for moving that fast.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's why I kind of liked it when I came over here. I felt like, okay, this is different. I've not seen another studio space that kind of, maybe a couple others in New Orleans I've seen that kind of closed or something like that. But I still felt like what you're doing is kind of dope because it's like you're doing, ever since I followed this and this whole entire thing, it's been like, okay, this is really different. So I thank you for that,
No,
because
absolutely no.
yeah, it's
Listen,
just not, it's not present here and
no,
it's really
I
exhausting.
born and raised here. I love New Orleans. I want New Orleans to be the number one music city on the map. I want it.
Yeah.
I want it. We have the creativity here. people come down here and they grab it and they leave,
Yep.
and they
And
take
they
their
leave.
creativity somewhere else and they use it, and it just no one's cultivating the music business down here.
No.
And so hopefully I thought, I saw a gap in the market, and I didn't enjoy LA in personal reasons.
Really?
No, I really didn't.
I like it over there.
Well, I mean, look, being from here, I was, I was single when I moved out there,
Well, yeah.
and I guess I was 27 or so,
Hmm.
26, 27, and at that time already, I felt like the weird uncle at the bar trying to talk to people because why everybody in LA is like, why are you talking? Why? What
Yeah, their
are we?
vibe is different.
Is there a reason you're talking to me
Right.
right now? Like, do you have something to offer me? Otherwise, I'm not having this conversation.
Yeah.
And
they
at
like
the same
that.
time, I'm like, dude, I'm in the bar by myself having a burger. I'm just fucking talking to you.
That's the South. That's the South in you or something.
Like there's a Saints game on. Like I'm just talking. Like I don't know, and
Oh my
it
God.
and it just never connected in a personal sense. So I
Yeah,
was out
I
there
can see
9
that.
years, but I just
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, you spent some time there.
Yeah, but I just decided at some point it was like, it's time to come home, time to get back to reality, build a
Yeah.
family, be close to family, but also
Yeah.
realizing that New Orleans needed something.
Yeah.
And I felt that every time I came home.
Right.
And cuz I was out there doing, music career stuff,
Yeah.
that happens in LA. And I come home and man, it's just
It's
what are
not
we
jumping,
doing?
yeah.
Like we're wasting time.
We are wasting time.
We're wasting time.
I mean, how do you feel about social media opening up like the opportunity for artists to actually now get information that they didn't get when they
I think
moved?
it's already past its good point.
Wow.
I feel
Okay,
I
that's
feel like it's
interesting.
had its good moments
Uh-huh.
where like it was very authentic. People were throwing things out that are authentic. People are truly reaching out and teaching things.
Yeah.
Now I feel like it's oversaturated with bullshit,
It's a shit show.
and there's no accountability to the lies and the actual things that aren't real that come out to
Yeah.
it. But also, I feel, and we actually just had this conversation with another guest about how I don't feel like social media is going to be the same in the future now that AI has come in. So
Yeah.
I know for me, I don't care to put a post picture up and care about an AI bot responding to it.
Right.
So, and now everybody knows that their AI assistant is going to be responding to these comments or responding to
much.
these pictures or responding to this song or to me, it's like, okay, well, then we've lost the social aspect of social media.
Yeah.
Now it's just media.
Now it's just that's it.
And it's information that's out there that you can go look for, but you're not really engaging in it.
Yeah.
Because it's computers engaging. So
this is so depressing.
So that's my take on social media. You brought it up. I didn't. You brought it up.
It's something that I thought about, but you're right.
Like
it's over with.
Like where do we go? Like
yeah,
I don't care about a computer responding to my post. Like what? Where is the social aspect of that?
Right.
You're
right.
So I tell artists, this is where I always tell artists, go back to the trunk sale.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to this. Go back to the point where you're engaging with 100 people in your town.
Yeah.
And not caring about the 10,000 people that aren't in your city or surrounding areas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those 100 people will buy shirts, they'll buy hats, they'll buy albums, they'll buy tickets, they'll buy alcohol when you're at your shows. Mm-hmm. Like they will come and participate in your moment.
Yes.
And if we don't get back to that, I feel like we're just going to be socializing with computers.
This is an interesting time, I tell you that. This is an interesting
I mean,
time.
well, and I feel like we've gone off of our path of our conversations, but
There's so much to unpack.
there is but as an artist, I mean, you have to worry about this now because
Yeah, it's a problem.
you have to think about where you're placing your music because
Yeah,
didn't it used to be on the shelf? You thought about
yeah.
right,
Hmm.
like what level on the shelf that your album was on was
Right.
a big thing of the advertising
Yeah.
part,
Hmm.
and that's why you cared about when you released your album
Hmm.
because everything would rotate like if
Like
you
what quarter and all
yeah,
that.
well,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Because there were differences in where your album would be placed, and uh, I don't know. I just
It's scary.
yeah, it's scary.
It's
It's
scary.
scary. There's more listeners, but less space.
Less space. It's just, yeah, and oversaturated with just junk or something.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so bad.
but live music,
Live music.
live music.
Yep.
You're a singer.
Yep.
Live music. You can actually sing.
Yeah.
Live music.
Yep.
It's that will never die.
Right.
That will absolutely never die. But let's talk about live music.
Okay.
American Idol.
That was so long ago. Oh my gosh.
American Idol.
Woo. That was dope. And as a matter of fact, when I did audition, it was, you know, all of the singers at that time that were really dope and popping. People that's probably not even doing much right now, but we were all at that audition. Like Lucky Day was too, because I remember he and I moved forward in the audition.
Got you.
That happened here. That was crazy. That was crazy. I mean, it wasn't like now you can kind of see, send your video in to audition for something.
Right.
You were outside in at the
You were waiting
Superdome. You were waiting.
hours. You didn't know
You
what was
camping
going
out.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It was crazy. It was big. It was great, but it also was wild.
How does the song choice go?
Hmm.
Did you chose the first song, right?
I chose all my songs
Okay.
for American
Okay.
Idol.
Because sometimes
Um,
they talk about how like they give you a list of songs that
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
that you have
yeah.
to choose from.
Well, it depends on like what you're doing and what platform you're on. So
Right.
like for at that time, American Idol, that was a long time ago. I'll be telling y'all my age if I tell y'all. But that was a
Well, we
long
ain't
time
asking
ago. And
that.
so it's like, okay, um, we picked our songs, and they would ask you at that time, like, okay, so what made you pick this song? What drew you to this particular song? And for me, I was heavy on Whitney Houston. I was like, Whitney is the one. I had a hard time picking other songs, but I think what they wanted from me was to kind of branch out of
Comfort zone.
my comfort zone of what I wanted to sing, what I was most attracted to.
Which kind of doesn't make sense for an audition.
It doesn't.
Like I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna sing my best.
Yeah.
I don't really like. Why step out of something that I've never done before?
Exactly.
In front of the world and three big people.
And three big people.
Exactly. Like no, I'm gonna pick something I'm comfortable with.
I think because like the year before, I think it was Fantasia on the show, and I think she did Sign Still Delivered by Stevie. So that kind of wowed them because it was like, okay, that's different. She's a woman that took Stevie Wonder and covered that, and it was different. For me, I felt like, you're a woman, sing a woman song.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Go with what you know, like what you love, what's in your heart. And sometimes it don't make sense. It really doesn't for me. I'm like, do what you do.
Right.
But sometimes they love this whole idea of you're able to do this and that and all the things. And I think it's because once you're on the platform, they're able to kind of see what else they can throw at you and what you can do with it.
I got you.
So
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, look, women and men have different inflections.
Exactly.
So like, I mean, just to give you a little bit of, I guess, insight, when we were doing the Grammy writing camps in LA for Beyonce, she would not listen to any demos that were recorded with a female.
Really?
She wanted all male vocals on the demos.
That is interesting.
And
super dope.
Yeah, well, and come to after thinking about it and processing it and understanding what I guess she was going through.
Yeah.
you guys have different inflections. So
Mhm.
she wanted to be the first female to
Mhm.
throw the inflections in the idea. She didn't want to take from another woman's ideas and
Interesting.
perspective. So she wanted to be
Okay.
the first woman's perspective on the idea.
That is fire.
Right?
That's fire. That's fire. I don't know. I don't know what team or whatever,
Came
and
up with
what
that,
influences
right?
were around, but that's pretty dope that I never thought of it that way. And when you think of it that way, that's kind of what keeps you original.
Correct. It
So
makes
that's
sense.
fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm
I'm
glad.
Thank you. That's some information
No,
for me.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so what led you to Trombone Shorty and all of this local stuff that's going
Um
on and blowing up?
Well, I actually was, I began performing and doing a lot of my own shows maybe about 12, 13 years ago. And so doing that, of course, my name became, known in the city more. Although I was prior to that, like, I'm not doing New Orleans,
Right.
After Katrina, though, and after I settled in with the thought of, hey, this is where I am right now, I'm like, I'm going to do something here. And then my cousin always said, well, you are there. You live there. This is where you are currently. Get the people there interested,
Mm-hmm.
That's a good look, too. So I began to do shows, perform, do all the things. And, Troy and I were kind of in contact. Maybe a year or so before I went on his tour, I was asked to do some background vocals on one of his songs on his album. Um, and then after, of course, as he was looking for new talent for his platform, he kind of reached out and wanted me to do the tour. So I went out maybe I think it was like May 2019 and did a couple shows, and he was just like, "Yeah, you, So
You good?
after that, it
Yeah.
was just like it was up after that. We just kind of
Troy's awesome.
yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He's
he's awesome.
pretty dope, and he gives you the opportunity as an artist to do your thing
Mm-hmm.
because you don't just do backs on his platform. Like he'll say, "Hey, come forward and do your thing in front of this
Mm-hmm.
audience." So people that came out to see Trombone Shorty,
You,
which is super dope.
you know what I noticed about him? He doesn't have an ego about
Yeah,
music at
no,
all. And
yeah,
he was just here over the weekend.
really,
Yeah,
okay,
and he actually we were. We were in the room together. I was playing him some music that I had done, and
mm-hmm.
he was asking me questions about what I played and all that stuff. And I told him, I said I played it, but I played mostly off ear. Like I don't know music
Yeah,
theory, so I don't say I'm a musician.
gotcha.
And I played him a few more things, and he goes, he goes, no, you are a musician. He's like, you're playing music. You're creating
Uh
music.
huh.
You're a musician. You're shortchanging yourself. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, man, this guy
That's
who
how he
is
is.
a real musician in my
Yeah,
head, because I've always been careful with that word.
yeah.
I've always been
I get it.
very
I
careful.
get it because people are like, okay, you're a musician. Show me.
Yeah, a producer too. I'm very careful with that word. It took me
Really?
a long time to call myself a producer,
Yeah.
even though I was producing music and trying to do things. But it took a long time for me to adapt that word to myself because I felt like I respected the work that everybody else
Mm.
put in ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I kind of started the game late. I was in my mid-20s before I really started creating and doing
Yeah.
things. So
It's not bad.
no, but you get to LA and you realize the kid's been playing drums since
I feel the same way.
7 years old in the church band, and you're
Right.
like, I okay,
Right.
like okay, I'm here.
Right.
Like I don't know what to say to you.
Yeah.
Like so I got real careful with that word
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to, I guess, overpromise under deliver in those
Gotcha.
moments.
Gotcha. So
So
yeah.
if I, as long as I just stayed a creative, I was able to place myself in the moments that I could.
Okay. Okay. That's
Um,
dope though, because it's like you're giving yourself room to grow,
yeah,
and you're
no,
acknowledging that.
100%.
So
No,
that's
and
fire too.
everybody respected it. It was just
Yeah.
I was very careful with those words.
Right.
You know.
But now you just have to own it.
Now I gotta own it. According to Trombone Shorty, I
Yeah.
gotta own
Listen
it.
to him. Take the advice. Go crazy.
but shout out to him being so humble and so
Yeah, he
awesome.
really is.
Well, where? Let's see. Touring in
Mm-hmm.
the UK.
So super fun.
What what's different about touring in the UK than touring in the States?
So a couple things I noticed. Well, some of the venues that we were in were smaller than the venues that we have done over here. Um, but the people are crazier, like in a good way though. They're
Okay.
so
Just so
live,
into it.
and I see what people mean now when they say when you go outside the country, people really appreciate that more. And that's exactly what I got. They were really, oh my goodness, they follow you. They are, I mean, it's just all the things. They wait outside and they want to like get an autograph from like everybody in the band. You know, um, it's like they're moved by it. Sometimes they don't know what they're saying, but they're saying it. And I think that's so different because I know for me, if I'm not from somewhere and I don't understand what I'm singing, I'm like, hey, I don't know what I'm singing. So how
Do you
do I just get all into? They just get into it.
do you think it's because other cultures um, want a piece of other cultures? Meaning,
Absolutely.
like we always looked at British rock
Yes.
and things like even EDM, but really British rock's I guess where it started with the Beatles and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
like we adapted that stuff because we thought they were cool and it was
Yeah.
different. It was something different than what
Uh-huh.
the states were used to and culturally.
Yeah.
And now you're over there
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking at you like, man, you're different and culturally different
Yeah.
and progress
Yeah.
they see almost more progressive than
Mm.
where they stand. That cool word, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whatever it is, like that attachment
Yeah.
to being cool is what I
I
think a
agree.
different culture will give you.
Yeah, I agree. I actually met someone over there. She and I, like, we're in touch sometimes still.
Right.
She was like, oh my goodness, she's this amazing British accent. And we kind of like,
Which I love. I love British
yes, me
accents.
too.
Yeah.
She's been here before a couple of times. And so we kind of keep in touch on socials. And she's like, when I come back to New Orleans, we're going to get together. I'm like, oh yeah, whenever. So they just do have a different appreciation. It's the same thing for me, though. Honestly, I will say when you go other places, you kind of feel like, oh my goodness, I just love the way you do this, and
Mm-hmm. Well,
you learn so
you
much.
learn something from
You know,
every different culture.
yes.
Was there one fan experience that you could attach to? You think?
Um. Wow. She's definitely one. I mean, she came to a show in France. We met her. I want to say in I can't remember exactly, but it was over there, in London. And then she came to France, Vienna, France, to see us in a different venue. And I just felt like, okay, you traveled a little bit, to get over here.
Right.
And that kind of made a connection for me because I just saw her commitment to, I'm coming, she just was really in it. She was into it. If I could think of others, there's a few others that, um, they just kind of connect in a way where they're telling you, I'm going through this, and after this experience, I just feel, so just happy. My life is, when you realize what music does for people, because I know what it does for me,
Oh, absolutely,
and when
absolutely.
I realize what it does for people, it kind of makes you feel like your purpose is absolutely fulfilled, in a lot of ways.
Well, it's
So
healing.
it is definitely healing,
Yeah,
and they let you know that
yeah.
they don't shy away from that.
No,
So
it's healing. It's therapeutic.
yes,
It's educational. There's so
yep,
many aspects to
yeah,
it. But
for sure.
traveling, I feel like gives you a different appreciation to what you have back home.
It does. It really does. You see a lot. You understand people more. You understand their situations. It's not as, I know that well, this is so off the topic. I mean, I know we overuse air over here when it's hot, but
Mm,
over there they don't do that, of
mm-mm.
course, which is good. And, but you realize, oh my goodness, like I can't do this every day. Like, sorry.
That's
Like,
funny.
you know,
Yeah, no,
so,
absolutely. Well, talk a little bit about your residency at Windsor Court.
oh, I'm so excited
How
about
did that come about,
that.
and when is it, and when can we go
Um,
see you, and what kind of music is it? Tell me the whole spiel.
so I've always loved how quaint and just so intimate the space
Oh
is.
yeah,
Just to go and chill out over there
the
with
Polo
friends, and
Lounge, right? Is that where
yeah,
you're at?
it's
Yeah,
dope. Yeah,
yeah.
so And I knew of
My
another
stepdad's
artist.
actually on the wall.
Really?
Yeah, so the guy on the left of the bar riding the horse for the
Wow.
polo picture,
That is your
that's my
dad.
stepdad.
Your stepdad.
Yeah, my
Oh my God.
stepdad.
He's like,
Yeah.
get it right.
There. Stepdad.
That's
Yes.
funny. So he's on the wall. Wow.
Yeah, so
When you go
anyway,
there, do you like?
I laugh at him. Yes.
Oh
Yes,
my
every time I
God.
go there, I laugh at him. Yes. No, yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
but
Windsor
and
Court.
he plays polo, so that's why it's in the polo lounge.
Yeah, that's super.
Anyway, move on to you at the Windsor Court.
So back during Essence weekend, well, actually, I had, we reached out and kind of got a connection with them. And during the Essence weekend in New Orleans, they were like, hey, can you come and do, I think it was Friday night or something. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So we did that. It was amazing. It was higher level. I've never seen it that super lit before. Not in that
Awesome.
space, So,
Yeah, so it's probably kind of a quiet,
yeah.
loungy
And they were like, "Oh,
space.
yeah." And I'm like, "Alrighty then," but the music was really rich, and I mean, I kept it to where they can stay engaged.
Mhm.
So, that was fun. So we already had discussed once I came back from another project that I was working on in LA. Then when I came back this fall, I would be starting every Friday night at the Windsor Court
Okay.
Polo Lounge from 9 to midnight.
All right.
So that's now where they've placed me. I'm on every
Awesome.
Friday night
Awesome.
at the Windsor, 9 to midnight. So come and see me.
Well, we
It's
definitely
amazing.
have to come see you.
Of course, I put jazz music. Well, so it's different than what I'm pushing and promoting a showcase at a venue or somewhere that I actually perform with my band. Sometimes it's not. It's different because it's more of my music,
Mhm.
my personal music I've recorded, and things that kind of complement that. The showmanship is a little bit different. And at the Windsor Court, for me, I kind of make sure that I'm reading the room, the space.
Right,
You have to
right.
know what
Well,
what
when
to
you're
do,
performing, you
how
have
to do
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
So you don't always listen to all my music tonight. You can't do
No,
that.
no.
So we're doing that. I'm doing some jazz music because we are from New Orleans. We live here. This is what they want to come and hear when they come here. People that are staying there, and I mean, but I love it because I've always loved the space. So,
Awesome. Who's your
yeah.
favorite jazz musician?
Oh my goodness. Let me say, Ella Fitzgerald is by far my favorite. It has to be Ella, Louis, Armstrong, and Sarah Vaughan.
There's some good ones.
They're dope.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. But
Yeah,
that's some
there's
good
a lot.
ones.
I mean,
There's
I
a
can go
lot.
on and on, but I just love them so much. Frank Sinatra, I can go on and on.
Yeah.
They're my top
There you
5 or
go.
something. Yeah,
There you go.
for sure.
What do you feel some of the challenges that you faced as a woman in the music
Well,
journey?
I'm just going to stay off the topics of things that are going on right now in the industry because I could go there. Yeah, as a woman, I don't take no stuff like that. Like for me, I'm not into the whole like selling your soul, do whatever. I'm talented. I feel like, I'm gifted. God has blessed me with everything I need to succeed. So if you, as, whatever you are, whatever you do, want to do business with me, it's not going to be on a funny style.
Right.
So for me, as a woman, that is probably a challenge because a lot of women who use what they got to get what they want, sometimes it doesn't work out for them, and then sometimes it does.
I would say most of the time it doesn't work out.
Most of the time it doesn't.
It doesn't work out.
And for the ones that it does, it's like, what price do you have to pay?
Right.
So I'm not with that. So yeah,
Right.
as a woman, I'm going to stay in my round. So
Right.
that's not a challenge for me. It's more like,
I
it's
would
what it
say use your talent, not your talents.
exactly. That's so funny. Use your talent, not your talents. That's funny.
That's probably the best advice I can give women
Yeah.
because it just never lasts in
It
that moment.
doesn't.
Britney Spears was dating the manager. But where's Britney now?
know.
She's not in a good position.
She didn't need to do that either.
Tony Braxton. Where did that end up making her?
Right.
It's not a good moment.
They don't even need that.
No.
But
but it ends up ruining the careers.
Yeah,
Because on the other side of that person is a powerful person in the industry. So
exactly. You're
you're
at the
now
mercy of that person and all the things.
and all the
That's too
things.
much. I'll cut my losses if I have to.
Make your own platform,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Make your own platform. And
Yeah.
so,
What
yeah,
about a mother? Being a mother,
being a mother has been the most rewarding experience ever. Um, and becoming a mother, when I did become a mother, honestly, I wasn't the kind of mother that felt comfortable with, okay, I'm leaving you for like 3 months to go on this tour and go over here and over there. Oh no, I felt like I don't want to be that kind of mom to come back, and I understand that the sacrifices, you have to make the sacrifices, and eventually as he got older, I became more comfortable traveling more
right?
because my husband and the support system that I have, it makes sense for everything. But earlier on, and he had to get comfortable too. Like, okay, well, mom is doing this, and
Right,
he understands, and it's also different because you're not, where you're super innocent and you're just like, oh, I'm just
right,
kind of a wanderer. I didn't want you know, my child to ever feel like I left him, or that somebody else raised him and now he has all these mannerisms and the way that he conducts himself. It's because of me chasing, of course what I do and what I love. But I have a responsibility as a mom. This is a life. He's going to be here on this earth, and this is the next generation. It's
right. It
important that
represents me.
exactly,
Yeah,
I need to also invest in that
right,
more than anything. So, as a mom, I really took my time with that, and I did my music, kind of not as a hobby, but it became second,
right,
to my being a mother. So as time went on and things became a little bit more, it made more sense. Then I began to kind of say, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I have this project happening for a week. I'll go over here. But you have this great support system here that, it's different now. It's not like it was back then when he's 3, 4, and 5, and I have great parents. My parents are still alive, and married and everything. But we went through such crisis at that time. It just wasn't a good time to just, well, I got my parents. Let me just push you over there. It just wasn't. And I feel good about that.
right.
I feel good about that. So,
Yeah, you guys take a step back,
yeah, to go forward sometimes.
and understand that they're your number one fan, and you have to
Yes.
milk that,
Yeah.
in the right moments, and especially those early on moments. I feel
Yes.
like that really builds the bond,
Absolutely.
and then they will start to understand
Exactly. And
that
he's going
it's.
to be, well, he's 15. No, let me not rush my child. He'll be 16 in February. Right now he's not
There
16,
you go.
but he was with me. All the musicians know him. They know him because he was with me in rehearsals and stuff. So I was still doing my thing. I just made sure like I kept that
Yeah, but that's
secure.
also awesome because then he gets experience what you doing while you're away, and at
Yeah,
the same time, like it gives him a little bit of intrigue,
exactly.
about what's going
Exactly.
on. Well, let's see plans for the future.
Oh, plans for the future. So one thing I haven't done, and this is me overthinking all this stuff. A lot of times as an artist that doesn't have a record deal or something like that behind you, you sit on music for years.
Hmm.
Because then you're like, when is the right time? Like, is it going to really do well? And am I going to get like a tour and all the things? It's like overthinking overload. And do I have enough followers on social media to put this project out and it be the masses are actually getting to experience it? I'm over that. So for me now, the music I've recorded, the music I've done, that I'm doing, I'm definitely going to put
Put
that
out. Yeah,
music out. I cannot keep sitting on it. It's just not
it doesn't do any good in the
productive.
computer.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not. It's not doing any good. I don't care what happens at this point. I just want it to be out. It's my work, and I want it to be out. And then there's other things happening right now that I can't say that are so exciting.
no,
That's gonna top of the year. That will kind of help with that movement when it happens.
okay, well,
So that's
good,
gonna be dope.
well, good,
Yeah,
well, excited.
I'm excited.
Well, what brings elation to you in your life? Elation
Yeah,
we
I love that
define
name.
as peak happiness around here. So
Wow.
so what would that be?
For me, wow, it's a bunch of things. First of all, me being a mother, my son, my husband, my stepdaughter, like we're a family, and my extended family. Just we've gone through a lot. of things. I've had some serious losses in my life, and when you experience that, you just want to you want joy, you want
Mm-hmm.
peace, you want love, you want genuine souls around you. Traveling, experiences, that is what brings me elation. All that put together in
Real
one.
life.
Real life,
Real life.
yeah.
Yeah.
And music, for sure.
There you go.
It's really in my DNA. So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, great conversation and
Thank
great to
you.
have you. I'm glad you came through today.
I did. I was not gonna miss it. I was like, oh my god, I was so busy this summer. So kept having to
I'm glad.
wait.
Hey, listen, I'm glad you were busy. Let's keep you
Busy
busy.
is good.
The busy's good. Busy's making money, right?
Right.
Busy's making money. Well, great. Well, listen, please tell everybody where they can find your socials, where they can find your music.
Okay, so my socials. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. Nell Simmons Bradley. Well, I'll just say it out right now. Underscore Nell Nell Simmons SIMMONS, and then underscore Bradley on Instagram. Um, I have Facebook. You can just put in Nell Simmons. It'll come up for you. YouTube, I can always like add the links and stuff. But just put
Okay.
my name in and you'll actually find my photos. You'll find probably videos. TikTok as well. Music will be out. It will definitely be on all platforms pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. I'm super stoked about the next experience. I am, I'm happy to have been pushing myself through all the things that, well, actually, people around me that I love, that love me, have pushed me to keep going with something that after you experience so much, you kind of just like, hey, I don't even care. But I'm glad that I have these amazing souls around me because for that reason, things are really, really, they're forward movement. So
Awesome.
I'm excited about that. So follow my socials and yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, great. Well, great. Well, we will definitely follow. So,
Yes.
well, great. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the Elation Podcast today. And please like and follow and subscribe to our page if you enjoyed the content you saw today. Thanks so much and see you next time.